Welcome to Dollars and Cents, a monthly finance podcast presented by Altra Federal Credit Union and the Leighton Media Podcast Network.
Welcome to another edition of Dollars and Cents here on the Leighton Media Podcast Network. I am Jason Malillo. This is the podcast where we talk dollars and cents. Obviously, we talk money, we talk economics, we talk all of that good stuff. And we always have guests from Altra Federal Credit Union in studio with us. And with us today is Heather Wenhart and Tammy G. Tammy is a real estate loan originator at Altra, and Heather is a real estate post-closer. Today, we are going to talk about escrow. And I have to admit, as a person who's owned two houses, it took me a long time to really understand exactly what escrow is. You know, it was kind of confusing for me. So we want to just get into the basics of this, right? What is escrow? What can people expect from it? What do they need to know about it when they are buying a house or looking into getting a mortgage or something like that? So Heather, let's start with just the most basic question. What is an escrow account?
Yeah, so an escrow is an interest-bearing account held within your mortgage to be used to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance. So we take care of paying both of those out for you so you don't have to worry about paying them on your own. The escrow is part of your monthly payment, and it can change according to what is paid out for property taxes and homeowners.
Do people always have an escrow with a mortgage, or is there an option to not have one? Is there any situation where you wouldn't need one or wouldn't want one?
It depends on your actual mortgage. Sometimes we do require an escrow account, but it depends if you have 80% loan to value. Typically, it's up to you if you want escrow or not. Okay,
so why would somebody be required to have an escrow?
Typically, if their loan to value is higher than 80%.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand. So, and then escrow analysis. What is escrow analysis?
So each year we take a look at your escrow account and we review what was paid out for property taxes and what was paid out for homeowners insurance. And we see if we were collecting enough or if it ran short. And that takes place each year for all of our escrow accounts. For Minnesota residents, the escrow analysis runs in late June, and the payment adjustment will be for your August 1st payment. For all other states, though, escrow analysis is taking place right now, and the payment adjustment will be for your April 1st payment.
Okay. And so do you reach out to people for their escrow analysis, or is that something they need to keep track of?
So we do send an email letting members know that escrow analysis has taken place, and then another email once it's finished. And then you can access your escrow analysis letter, which will show you all the details. And that can usually be accessed through your online banking in the e-statement section.
Gotcha. Okay. And so then we wanted to also discuss, I guess, some key terms maybe that people will see in when it relates to their escrow: deficiency, shortage, and surplus. Understanding, I guess, the difference between these terms?
Sure. So an escrow shortage means that the balance in your escrow account is short, the amount that was needed. Typically, you do have an option to pay that shortage, and then we can go ahead and adjust your payment back down a little bit. If you do want to do that, just reach out to us and let us know. If you have a deficiency, that means your escrow account is negative. So you'll have to bring the balance up to zero plus the amount needed in your escrow account to pay out your taxes and insurance for the upcoming year. If you have a surplus, then you had a little too much in your escrow, and any extra money will be returned to your primary savings account with Altra.
How do people avoid getting a deficiency? Is there a way for people to avoid that, or how does that happen?
The best way is if you happen to know that your homeowners jumped up quite a bit, or that your property taxes are increasing if you built a new home, then reach out to us. You know, you can always add funds to your escrow to kind of prevent that huge jump in payment.
Sure. So that's just kind of people being on top of kind of how their mortgage and stuff is developing and the other costs they have. That makes sense. Okay. So escrow analysis, you talked about this already, but there will be an escrow analysis statement that members will receive. What should they, pay attention to on that? And is that something, if they don't understand the statement, they can contact you guys and say, hey, I want to go over this. I don't really get this one.
Yeah, they can be very tricky to read. So if you don't understand, just reach out to us. We do have a direct line to our real estate servicing department. We also have an email inbox you can send directly to us too. But yeah, you'll want to kind of look at what your payment was, and then it will show what your new payment will be. It will also show what your last homeowner's insurance was last year, as well as your property taxes, and then it will show the new amount going forward for the next year.
And does that change every year?
Yes.
It will always change?
Yeah.
Okay.
Typically, homeowners generally always increases, so you'll want to keep an eye on what we pay out for that. And property taxes typically increase,
right,
unless you're super lucky.
Yes, yeah. We're hardly ever that lucky for sure. So automatic payments, is that kind of then automatically updated as we go through the process?
Yes. Typically, if you had set up your payments through Altra, then it will automatically be updated. If you set up your payment on your own through online banking or bill pay, then you'll need to go in and update that on your own.
Okay.
If you're unsure, just give us a call and we can take a look.
Yeah. And we talked about shortages and kind of how can you pay a shortage and maybe kind of keep the payment the same? Is that possible?
So you can definitely pay the shortage, and that will be listed on the escrow analysis letter, that amount. You can pay the shortage, but you're not going to go back to your previous payment amount. It just needs to increase since homeowners and property taxes increase.
Right. Okay. Heather Wenhart is our guest. She is a real estate post-closer for Altra Federal Credit Union. Also with us is Tammy Guile. You haven't heard Tammy yet, so Tammy, let's bring you in because you look like you're getting bored over there. So Tammy is a real estate loan originator. We've had her on the Dollars and Cents podcast before. So Tammy, we've talked about mortgages before, and we were actually just doing a story on our morning program on KWNO this morning about home prices and how a lot of people, it's hard for people to buy homes right now. What is kind of the current state of mortgages? Are you guys originating a lot of mortgages? Are a lot of people staying on the sidelines who, are maybe looking to buy homes? What is the current situation right now?
People are still getting pre-approved. It's just the housing. There's not a lot of houses out there right now, but people are still looking. Rent isn't getting any cheaper. So, it's always better to own a home and get some investment there than renting where you have nothing.
Right. The home prices, I think I saw the median home price across the state is like $330,000 around there. Are we higher than that in Winona County? Lower? I think I heard somewhere that we're quite a bit higher than the state average.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. And is that something that you see, changing?
It does change a little bit. I think too, just because there's a limited supply right now, so people are pricing their homes a little bit higher as well.
Yeah. Okay. When people are coming to you, obviously sometimes they'll come to consult with you guys, I guess, about mortgages or about buying a home. Where do you are there times when you say now might not be the best time? Obviously you guys want to originate as many loans as you can, but do you sometimes try and tell people stay on the sidelines for a couple months or something like that? How do you approach that situation?
Yeah, you look at everybody's different. It depends on their income, what they have coming in, what they kind of tell you they want for a monthly payment. And if at this point we're just not right there, we're just let's wait a couple months and kind of see where it is. Typically winter months are a good time to purchase because there's not you don't have like a lot of people putting a ton of offers. So, it's not a big market where a lot of people don't want to move in the winter cold months.
Sure.
So sometimes this is a good time to purchase.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever talked about this before, but I know when we were getting ready to move here, we moved here like almost 2 years ago from the Twin Cities, and it was a situation where the Winona market seemed like there were a lot of, kind of cheaper homes and then a lot of really high-end homes. And it didn't seem like we had a lot of homes that were kind of in the price range that we wanted to pay, that was right in the middle. Does that make it more challenging for people to buy in the Winona market? Is it kind of unique in that way?
I think it is. It's Winona is a great place for first-time home buyers. It seems like, we have a lot of the houses in that first-time home buyer. But, yeah, that median price where kind of people are looking, it's either you hit it right on the head. It's either the lower price or the higher price. You don't see a lot of that middle. So it does make it a little bit tougher to find that house for certain people.
Does that make it a situation where people might look to buy in Lewiston or Rushford or even go across the border to Cochrane or Fountain City or Galesville? Do you see that happening sometimes?
Yeah, we do have a lot of people that go a little out of Winona.
Yeah.
The little cities, and then a lot of people in the Winona area work in Rochester or work in La Crosse. Right. So then they're looking for maybe not. One spouse works in Winona, one works in La Crosse, so they're kind of looking for that middle ground anyway.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so they might move out into Winona County somewhere like St. Charles or somewhere like that where they're kind of right in between, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, good stuff. Tammy Guile is with us. She is a real estate loan originator with Altra Federal Credit Union, and also Heather Wenhart is with us. She is a real estate post-closer for Altra Federal Credit Union. We have people from Altra on this podcast all the time. This is the Dollars and Cents podcast on the Leighton Media Podcast Network. I am Jason Malillo with you as always. Heather, anything else we should discuss, about escrow and things like that, things we didn't discuss, anything that we should touch on when it comes to that? I think we got pretty in-depth about most of it, but, is there anything else that people should know? Or maybe what services Altra can offer to people, who are wondering about their escrow? Can they come in? Can they consult with you guys about that?
I could add one thing. A lot of people do ask if it costs to escrow. It does not cost anything for people to escrow. It's just a nice thing, so when May or October comes, you don't have to go and pay your taxes. Yeah. And maybe forget about your taxes and get that late fee. Yeah. So that is one thing that people do ask. I know when I'm originating mortgages, does it cost me to have an escrow account?
Sure.
It does not.
Something you want to add, Heather?
Yeah, I would say just make sure to review your escrow analysis letter. If you notice anything that doesn't seem quite right, if you're getting a very large surplus that doesn't seem correct, or your payment drops significantly, give us a call because it is computer generated. We have 10,400 escrow accounts, so it's hard for us to catch all of those. So if you notice something seems off, give us a call and we'll be happy to take a look at it for you.
Okay, sounds perfect. One other question I just thought of, because I know, on my morning show we run a lot of stories about fraud, and fraud is something that happens a lot, and I guess a lot of people do most of their banking and their financial stuff online now. Is there much fraud with mortgages, with escrow and things like that? Or it seems like the security on that is a little better, right, Tammy?
Yeah, I would say fraud is out there. I don't notice that we see a lot of it in the mortgage accounts.
Right.
When you're applying, there's a lot. You get a lot of spam calls.
Sure.
People trying to put that way, but I don't think with escrow accounts we really notice it.
Right.
No. I would say when you get a new loan, typically that information is public information. So you will sometimes get, a postcard saying your warranty or something about that, but always check at the bottom. It usually says not affiliated with Altra.
Right. Yeah. And so it's more people reaching out, kind of these shady places or these fly-by-night places trying to get your mortgage. But once it's originated, they're pretty safe with you guys. Okay. People want more information about Altra, about loans, about everything you guys do. Where can they find that, Tammy?
They can contact me at the Winona branch. I am right there in the Winona office. Like Heather said, we do have a post-serving email and phone number that they can contact as well.
Okay. And anything specifically for you, Heather, if they want to reach out to you?
You can contact us directly at 1-800-755-0055, extension 7500. And our email is reservicing@altra.org.
Perfect. Okay. That is Heather Wenhart. She is a real estate post-closer with Altra, and Tammy Guile is also with us. She is a real estate loan originator also at Altra Federal Credit Union. Somebody from Altra joins us every time on the monthly Dollars and Cents podcast. That is what you're listening to. We talk economics, finances, banking, all of that good stuff. That stuff that is confusing to a lot of people. People don't like to think about it. We try to break it down for you, try to make it more simple. I personally appreciate that. I'm not a numbers person, so it's like something like this is very helpful to a lot of people, especially when you think about buying a home, which is the biggest purchase that most people will make in their life. There's a lot to learn about. So before you sign on that dotted line, you want to have all the information, cross all the T's, dot all the I's, all of that stuff. One thing I wanted to ask you, Tammy, before we go on this edition is a bank versus a credit union. We've talked about this before, but I think it's sometimes something people don't know. And, sometimes people are banking somewhere and they're like, well, we'll go to Altra, but a lot of times people are like, oh, a credit union, is that the same thing as a bank? What is the difference? What are the similarities? What are maybe the benefits of one versus the other?
We're like a bank where we offer the same services as a bank does, but we're member owned. So everybody is the same. So everybody has a share in Altra. So that's the biggest difference from us to a bank. We offer, all the same services, but it's just that member owned part. A biggest difference too with Altra with our mortgage department is we service our own loans. So when you have your loan with Altra, you're going to contact me or our servicing department if you have questions. You're never going to be paying anybody else. So that's a huge difference for a lot of people. They're not start their loan here, you're paying them, and then all of a sudden I'm paying somebody else. So you'll always be paying Altra.
Yeah, it seems like, in the houses that I've purchased, the mortgage is sometimes sold several times within weeks or months of getting it. It's just kind of crazy. And you're like, okay, where did that thing go? So that is definitely a very good point. Tammy, thank you so much. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. That is Tammy Guile. She's a real estate loan originator at Altra Federal Credit Union. Heather Wenhart is a real estate post-closer as well. Heather, thank you so much for coming in. Good information. We appreciate it. That'll do it for this edition of Dollars and Cents here on the Leighton Media Podcast Network. I am Jason Malillo. Hope you enjoyed the podcast and join us next time.
Dollars and Cents is a monthly podcast presented by Altra Federal Credit Union and the Leighton Media Podcast Network. Find this and other podcasts on demand at WinonaRadio.com.